Chishimba Kambwili is back in the country. As you may be aware, once he left prison, he went straight to, should have been South Africa, and then images started coming up where he was in the UK. So he was out of the country for medical reasons, and he seems to be back. I think the first images of him were during the PF joint presidential candidates press briefing, where they are simply updating the nation to say they've postponed the planned national convention, which was supposed to take place this month, and as we head into general elections. So they've postponed it because Robert Chavinga, the other guy that's fighting with the Mouse Samp, PF presidency, put an injunction to the situation. So pretty much there's a court injunction over the PF situation. And that's when images of Kambwili was shown, where he met up with other aspirants on the PF presidential ticket. And as of today, he had his first interview since leaving prison and coming back in the country. And he had a number of things that he wanted to address. So one of the posts says, join a Patriotic Front presidential hopeful on KBN TV tonight as he analyzes the presidential speech. So the presidential speech that is being referred to here is the one that President Hakainde Hichilema had, should have been 48 hours ago, where he was pretty much, it was centered around Bill 7. Yes, he addressed a number of issues, but pretty much the bone of contention was the issue of Bill 7. As you may be aware, the church and the Oasis Forum and a number of other mother bodies intended to protest tomorrow from Freedom Statue to State House. It was scheduled to be a pre-civil protest in pretty much protest of the amendment bill that is being tabled, which is referred to as Bill 7. And yeah, so that could not take place, and the reasons I'll tell you as we proceed in the broadcast. And these are some of the highlights from Chishimba Kambwili's address, or pretty much his press briefing that he had an interview just a couple of hours ago. So Chishimba Kambwili has asked God where he got Hakainde Hichilema from and made him president of Zambia. So that's one of it. It's a saying that he used to use it. Even on Edgar Chagalungu, if you remember, you say, so he's using the same saying now, using it on Hakainde Hichilema. And then he also saw President Hakainde Hichilema's biggest problem is his propensity to lie, Chishimba Kambwili. So those are some of the highlights that Kalemba got from that interview that Chishimba Kambwili had. He says his propensity to lie, and then saying, when President Hakainde Hichilema invites you to State House for dialogue, there won't be dialogue. He will just be lecturing you, Chishimba Kambwili. Says that, and that's the reason why the Oasis Forum and the church mother bodies refuse that dialogue. Because how can you say you have having dialogue? What is that committee continues to the process is being referred to as just listening to the people submissions with regard to Bill 7. And then you say you want dialogue, because if the dialogue is to be had, there should be a pause on that thing. And then everyone is coming to the table with a win situation, and you lose some kind of thing. That was his argument. On the other hand, UPND cadres, as you may be aware, the National Youth Chairperson, Liswaniso, I think he just finished his Copper Belt tour, or he should be still on the Copper Belt. Where he's pretty much mobilizing the party, pretty much doing his job on the Copper Belt. But as they are trying to cross one of the targets on the Copper Belt, they had an interaction. One of the cadres had an altercation with a police person, and the police person simply slapped the guy. As you may be aware, most targets are guarded by Zambia police. And as you may be aware, they under the money, so they don't play around with regard to the security of the place by any means necessary. They defend the place. So it seems like the cadres had that altercation, and Lisaniso simply said no, the police was out of order. The cadre was simply trying to find some information from him, and Lisaniso had to restrain the cadre from responding to the police slap, because the police person slapped the UPND cadre, and Lisoniso said, no, it's him who restrained him, and the police person was out of order. He pretty much escalated the situation. But one thing that Lisoniso misses is this. People do not want him to be the person that de-escalates the situation. This shouldn't even be a thing in the first place. The fact is that cadres and the cadre situation has been rejected by the Zambian people. It was proven in the PF, and that's one of the major reasons that the PF got out of power, is because that nonsense that they used to do with cadres was not accepted by the Zambian people. And one thing that people miss with cadres is that, yes, you move with a crew of whether 50 cadres or 40 cadres or whatever, 100 cadres, but mostly it's 50, which looks like everyone is moving with. If you were to ask and check around those cadres, they don't even have voters cards or anything that will add any numbers to the real game here. The game is voting and making your candidate win. Now, if Zambians see the situation that was prevailing in the PF and the cadre situation is becoming rampant, and now everyone's has to be dependent on Lisoniso stepping inside and then de-escalating the situation or pretty much restraining the cadres. Now, what happens in a situation where the cadres are acting out and Lisoniso is not around, so they just act out, and that's that situation that played out at the Patriotic Front Secretariat plays out again. Same situation with what happened to Given Winder. So is that going to be the case where Lisoniso is not around? The mere fact is that cadreism has been rejected by Zambian people, whether it be a PF, be MMD, be UPND. It's as simple as that. The real players here are the Zambian people who've got the voters' cards and who make it count. Otherwise, depending on moving with 50 cadres and thinking to change anything, yes, you disturb the operation of things as the case it was at the target. But the reality is that Zambians have rejected this and it does not augur well. On the other hand, KBF had an interview with Emmanuel Mwamba, and he had a lot to say. And one of the things he says is how a court injunction and a legal calendar could keep Zambia's Patriotic Front of the 2026 ballot, a clear timeline. So KBF has simply advised the PF to say the reality is that injunction that Chavinga has filed in court is going to run pretty much through the court process. And we're just a few months away from the general elections. So the likelihood of PF being on the ballot paper is highly unlikely, pretty much, because of the court process that is required for a verdict to be given. So that's KBF. And he has simply offered an olive branch to the Patriotic Front and asked them to simply say, hey, join his, what's his thing, Zambia Must Prosper Party, and be part of it. On the other hand, Reverend Walter Mwambazi is simply basically saying, ZESCO has scammed us. Tariff hike, 7 hours of power, eating my humble pie as I campaigned for higher tariffs. So he's simply recalling, say 1 year later, the situation is still the same, where he had advocated for ZESCO increasing tariffs so that they can supply the nation with the power, and it seems like the situation has gotten worse since then. So he's simply getting that. And then Chief Etayari asks, how many people have submitted to the technical committee on a constitutional amendment versus those who are opposed to it? Let the process go to Parliament where laws are made. So Chief Etayari says, let the process go on, take it to Parliament. But if you remember that, they wanted to take it to Parliament, but there was a court injunction which demanded that the process of consultation of the general public is supposed to be done, and that's why the committee comes in. But the Zambian people are simply saying that committee that is not a representative of the reality on the ground. The people don't want that process in the first place. But yeah, there's two sides of the aisle. And then Michael John asked the same. Those who are saying no to Bill 7, can you please explain why? I want to understand the reasons behind your position. And then Victoria simply responded to say, Linda Kasonde, who is the former Law Association of Zambia, should be, what do you call them, the chairperson or whatever that person, the head of Law Association of Zambia at some point. has been explaining why Bill 7 is not a good idea and it should be avoided by any means necessary. She's been doing posts, she's been doing videos about it. So she's simply saying you are deciding, you've already, it's one of those things where cognitive, they call it cognitive distance, where you've already decided where you stand. And any opinion, or they say confirmation bias, you've already made up your mind on an issue, and any other alternative information that you receive, you simply disregard it as pretty much being negative or not playing to your preconceived agenda in the first place, because she's been explaining why. And a number of people from various sectors of society have explained why Bill 7 implementation at this point is not a good idea. But anyway, it is what it is. Politics at the end of the day. And then, according to UPND Zambia's post there, they say Oasis Forum cancels its protest march, and we instead have prayers in the morning before meeting head of state at State House on Friday afternoon. So, according to that post, the Oasis Forum's march past, or pretty much the protest that was supposed to have from Freedom Statue to State House has been cancelled, according to that post by the UPND there. And obviously, Emmanuel Mamba responded, said, don't believe the propaganda. Oasis Forum has called for prayer rally on Friday at Pop Square. Go and attend. So it seems like it's just a new strategy that the Oasis Forum and the Catholic Church have used. Because, there are threats of them being meeting up with UPND cadres when they go to, Freedom Statue as they head to State House. So now they've opted to take it to the church. So the event is going to be at Pop Square, pretty much the Catholic Church that is next to the UN Embassy. I mean, not the UN Embassy, the UN offices in Lusaka there along Arikinkata Road. That's where they're meeting from. So that's where everything is going to be done. And it's from there where I don't know if they're going to walk to State House or they're going to drive to State House. It seems like they have agreed to meet Hakainde Hichilema at State House. But prior to that, they're still going to have their prayer, they call it prayer rally. Pretty much they'll make some statements, just like the head of state had the press briefing, should have been 24 hours ago now. They feel like, no, they will also issue their own protest within the church and then walk to State House. So pretty much it saves their security and also serves their purpose. They will achieve their goal, it seems. And then long queues I witnessed today of citizens queuing at ShopRite outlets. Registering to vote should worry you by UPND. Brian Apunda of the Socialist Party says those queues that have been witnessed of people lining up to vote, to register to vote should worry the UPND. And then he puts up an image there to say about yesterday, after the terrible 2 hours and a half presidential briefing, they have said, we shall see you. So simply saying, people have made up their mind after listening to Hakainde Hichilema's speech at State House. They've said, hey, let's go and register to vote and make our votes count as 2026 comes up. That's still Brian Apunda's post there. And then Kalemba says, ECZ extends mass voter registration exercise by 3 days from 27th today. So as you may be aware, the last day of voter registration was supposed to be yesterday. But today, Thursday, 27th November 2025 has been, you can still go and register. Even Saturday, 29th November 2025 is another day that's been added. So if you have not registered, please do go and register. Make your voice heard through your ballot. And then George Mutonga, UPND supporter based in the United States, put up some statistics. Say politics is a game of numbers. The focus should always be on our strongholds, and then we split votes in swing provinces. 9 out of 10 voters in our strong votes, and our vote for UPND. The focus and investment should always be there to make sure the turnout is good. And then he puts up some statistics of how it played out between Hakainde Hichilema and Edgar Chagwa, the differences that were playing out in Southern Province. Hakainde Hichilema got 91.8%, Edgar Chagwa got 5%, and then Edgar Lungu got 54% in Eastern Province, while Hakainde Hichilema got 37%, pretty much pulling out statistics how it played out. That's George Mutonga. They are doing his analysis. Latest ECZ extended the voter registration exercise by 3 more days or 3 days. And then someone simply argues that voter registration should always be an ongoing process. This is Muyunji Rosemary Mwense. She says voter registration should always be an ongoing process, not once off 4 years towards the general elections. We have people who are turning 18 in December and pretty much put up statistics to say it will be of benefit to capture every voter that is eligible, at least as of voting day, as opposed to having the voter registration exercise happen as it's happening now. Binwa Mpundungana, member of parliament, says the Mopani deal is terrible. There is nothing happening here. Performance-wise, Munguru weka weka, Munguru weka weka. But when you hear them praise this deal, you would think the mine is thriving. That's Binwa Mpundu there. What is the First Lady Mutinta Hichilema writes a congratulatory message to ABSA CEO. And she says, congratulations to ABSA Bank Zambia CEO, Mrs. Mizinga Melu, on your graduation with a degree in theology from Team Impact Christian University in the United States of America. This achievement reflects your hard work and determination, and and will inspire many across Zambia. Wishing you God's blessings in all your future endeavors. That's Mutinda Hichilema's words to ABSA CEO. Why is the First Lady was in Chipata today? So today we are deeply honored to visit Chipata Central Hospital, reaffirming our mission to supplement government's effort in strengthening healthcare to improve quality of life for our people. So the First Lady was in Chipata where she was distributing some of these items, as you can see on screen there. Mattresses and a number of blankets and things like that. So one thing is that Chira Tukuta can do his job very well when he means to do his job. He's very talented when it comes to taking pictures. So some of the images, I think the uniform that you see of the girls on the left should be Katete girls. I stand to be corrected. But yeah, that looks like a Katete girls uniform. Some girls from there taking a picture with the First Lady, Mutinta Hichilema. Always rocking her outfits very well. Her fashion sense is very commendable. And then obviously you see her interacting with the grandmother there, and then more people, the interactions that came from that meeting. Some beautiful images of the First Lady there doing a part and addressing the people. This is the picture of the day, I must add, from the event, Chera Tukuta, where you see the Zaf should have been the pilot that flew her. Take a and then Chera Tukuta takes a picture through the shoulder there. That's a tough shot. One worth contending for photo of the year. That's a tough shot, definitely. Chera Tukuta did his job here, and pretty much that's the news, ladies and gentlemen. Have a beautiful day.